Hey, welcome to Brighter Rays. This week we are looking at a study called Teaching the Older Men from Titus 2, 1 through 2. Now, as a part of Paul's strategic mission, he had left Titus in Crete to put what remained in order. One of the major tasks that he had to accomplish was to appoint elders in every town. Titus had a list of qualifications that he used to find men that could fulfill the role of an elder or overseer. An overseer needed to be, it had to meet a certain qualification for his family, for his character, for his knowledge of the Bible. And these qualifications were important because the men that Titus helped to appoint would be leading the fledgling church on the island. How the church would proceed in the future depended largely on who the overseers would be. Paul warns that there were many who were insubordinate. There were empty talkers and deceivers. And these false teachers and false Christians were upsetting whole families. They were causing destruction. And so if an overseer allowed these people to continue on in the church, the church would just limp along under the defilement of the unbelievers. And these people who deny God with their works, that's who they are. That's those who were in the church. They might profess to know him, but what they do betrays that they don't know him. They're actually betraying him. Paul says they're detestable, disobedient, unfit for any good work. Now, is this the end for these people? Is Paul just wishing that they would just die and go to hell? No, absolutely not. The sharp rebuke from Titus is so that those who were in error may be sound in faith. The hope is that they will awaken to the truth and be saved. Paul never tells Titus just to write these people off. On the contrary, Titus has some work ahead of him. He's got a hard work. Along with rebuking, he must instruct, as we saw was one of the jobs of an overseer. Now, over the next several lessons we're going to look at, over the next several weeks of lessons, we're going to see that Titus is to teach sound doctrine. That's what he's supposed to be teaching. And this sound doctrine is to be, not to be merely just a philosophical thing or a theoretical instruction. In other words, this teaching of the truths of the faith is to change and mold the way the people actually live. As James said, faith without works is dead. And that people, they're not supposed to be just not just to be hearers of the word, but they're supposed to be doers of God's word. And if they don't hear and do God's word, then they are deceiving themselves. It's a self-deception just to think that you can have faith, but it doesn't actually apply to your life. That is deceiving of yourself. So, as we look at the section that we have before us this week in Titus, Paul has some specific teaching instructions for different subgroups within the church, and we're going to begin with the older men of the church, and that's followed by the women, and then young men, really church leaders like Titus, who is a young man, and then finally we're going to look at bondservants. And so that's what Paul is going to go through. And so in this study this week, we're going to be looking at the very set of instructions that Paul gave for Titus to train the older men of the church. So next time, tomorrow, we're going to be looking at the first little section here, verse 1, and we're going to just look at that one sentence there where Paul tells Titus to teach sound doctrine.